Amazing gift from Ginger to Mom revealed. Heartwarming aquarium adventure transforms lives. On a typical sun-drenched morning in the small suburban town of Maplewood, a burst of joy echoed from a modest apartment where Sarah and her spirited daughter, Mia, celebrated a day like no other. Today was Mia's birthday, and while the world around them seemed laden with worries, their loyal golden retriever Ginger had a surprise in store. With wagging tail and wide eyes shining with excitement, Ginger nudged a colorful envelope towards Sarah. A treasure hunt unfolded, leading them to the local aquarium, hidden gems of the sea waiting beyond the door. The thrill of purpose struck Sarah. The sheer innocence radiating from Mia ignited a feeling of hope in her heart. As the door of the aquarium swung open, Mia's eyes sparkled with wonder. Bright corals and darting fish filled her imagination, each creature full of stories waiting to be told. They laughed and played. In that sanctuary, the weight of their struggles faded, and for a moment they were free. But the joyous laughter turned bittersweet when the caretaker shared distressing news. The aquarium was facing closure due to financial struggles. It struck Sarah deeply. This place had brought so many smiles, including Mia's. "Mama, can we help?" Mia's small hand gripped Sarah's. The question pulled at her heart, and she realized they had to do something. Their savings, small as they were, could make a difference. Sarah nodded, the resolve clear in her eyes. They decided to donate to stand up for something larger than themselves. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with the reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But rallying the community proved tougher than they imagined. Some were eager, inspired by Sarah and Mia's kindness. Others, however, let prejudice creep in, stirring whispers about their humble situation. Mia wrestled with wanting acceptance from her friends, while Sarah fought the fear of inadequate sacrifice. Would their actions really matter? They felt the growing tension that put their values to the test. Family and loyalty were supposed to triumph, but would that still hold true under scrutiny? The community event, meant to celebrate their efforts, became a space of discord instead. Misinformation twisted around like a storm, igniting old biases. Yet amid the turmoil, Sarah and Mia found their strength in each other. The support from their corner of the crowd was palpable, echoing encouragement. Just as Mia took a step forward to share her heart, a quiet boy with kind eyes rushed up, gripping a petition, the collective signatures of those who stood with them. As the crowd hushed, anticipation hung thick in the air. Would this reveal reshape everything they had fought for? The heart of their community teetered on a knife's edge, poised for a moment of transformation. Would the bonds woven through compassion survive this test? Silence settled over the crowd, heavy and uncertain. Sarah felt her heart race as she watched Mia step forward, the flicker of fear in her eyes mingling with determination. This was a young girl who had just turned 8 but held a world of courage within her. Her voice trembled slightly as she addressed the gathering. "Everyone, I know some of you think we don't belong," Mia began, glancing briefly at Sarah. "But the aquarium is special for all of us. It reminds us that we can share joy just like today. We can save it if we all work together." The way Mia spoke rippled through the crowd. Some faces softened, and a few nods appeared here and there. Sarah felt a surge of hope. Then, almost as if on cue, a voice shouted from the back, filled with skepticism. "And why should we care? What is it to us?" Sarah clenched her fists, but Mia drew in a deep breath, refusing to be deterred. "Because the aquarium is not just a place with fish." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the crowd, daring anyone to turn away. "It's a place where we come together. We can be better than the stories we tell ourselves. We should help each other." There was a long pause, and then a murmur of agreement rippled through some of the onlookers. Sarah could feel her heart pounding, the mix of fear and pride overwhelming. Mia's words hung in the air, a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. Just as hope began to bloom, a woman stepped forward. Sarah recognized her as the grocery store owner, someone whose opinion carried weight in the community. She didn't want to be rude, she had always been polite, but today she wore a frown. This isn't just about the aquarium. We've all been tightening our belts lately. Why should we contribute to something like this? The tension mounted, and the crowd shifted restlessly. Sarah held her breath, desperately willing for someone to see the truth in Mia's words. That when someone else stepped forward. A man who had been watching quietly from the sidelines, his hands tucked deep into his pockets. I remember taking my kids here when they were little, he said. We had some great family moments. I never realized how much I missed that place. Maybe we shouldn't just stand by. His admission sparked something. Heads nodded, voices started overlapping as people shared their own memories, how the aquarium had been a part of their lives. Laughter mixed with a few tears. Anecdotes flowing like a stream of connection that had heretofore remained hidden. A ripple of unity began to weave through the crowd, slowly but unmistakably. Feeling emboldened, Sarah searched every face, hoping to capture this moment. If people could remember their joy, then maybe it could inspire them to take action. At the front, Mia beamed, her small frame glowing with excitement. The allure of hope was palpable, but looming fears lingered too. Sarah knew that the battle for support was far from over. She exchanged glances with the boy who had brought the petition, feeling the weight of their collective resolve take shape. In the midst of it all, though, uncertainty flickered in Sarah's heart. What if this moment just dissipated? What if their voices drowned in the tide of doubt? Mia slipped her hand into Sarah's, her small fingers wrapping securely around her mother's. Mom, we can do this. We have to keep pushing. Their resolve kindled a spark in Sarah's heart, igniting a fire within her that told her to fight, to stay strong. It reminded her of the dreams she had for Mia's future, and of how they had already begun to change their narrative. What they needed was more support, a real plan. Let us organize a fundraiser, Sarah called out to the crowd. If we stand together, we can save the aquarium not just for our families but for generations to come. Excitement buzzed in the air, and the conversation swirled with renewed energy. Suddenly a plan began to take shape, and with it the possibilities seemed endless. But just as they found resolve, an unexpected figure stepped forward. A familiar face that made both Sarah and Mia's hearts drop. Could this person's appearance threaten everything they had worked for? Hey everyone, the voice rang out. I just wanted to talk about why this isn't going to work. All eyes turned, and the atmosphere shifted. The moment of truth loomed ahead, fraught with the danger of defeat or the promise of triumph. How would they navigate this new challenge? The figure who stepped forward was none other than Jake, the developer who had shown keen interest in buying the land where the aquarium stood. He had a reputation for turning beloved community spaces into profit-driven ventures, and his presence now cast a heavy shadow over the hopeful gathering. Sarah's heart sank. This was the last thing they needed. Listen, Jake began, brandishing a confident smile that left a bitter taste in Sarah's mouth. I appreciate all the memories you're sharing, but let us be real. We've discussed this before. The aquarium can't sustain itself. It's outdated. I have a vision for this area that's going to bring much more than just fish. New housing, a vibrant shopping district that's what our community actually needs. His words slithered through the crowd, injecting doubt like poison. Faces changed. Some that had just been alight with camaraderie now hardened with skepticism. Sarah glanced at Mia, who looked confused, her grip on her mother's hand tightening in distress. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. They had been so close to igniting a collective spirit, and now it felt like it could all slip away in an instant. Suddenly, someone from the back shouted, "But what about the memories? What about the people who visit every year?" It was a voice filled with righteous anger, the kind that awakens the spirit of rebellion. A ripple of agreement swept through the crowd, but Jake seemed unfazed, leaning into his charm as though he had anticipated this resistance. "Oh, I value memories, I do. But memories don't pay the bills. If anything, this aquarium is just a drain on our resources." Jake looked around as displeasure simmered. "And for what? This relic of the past? Look, I get it. We all have fond stories, but let us create new ones. Progress should always come first. You can't cling to the past while the future is waiting at your doorstep. But we can have both." Mia's voice rang out, surprising everyone, including her mother. "The aquarium can change too. We can make it better. It can be a place for us, our families, our memories." Why can't we save it and still get what we want? Her determination was like a gust of wind that breathed new life into the crowd. People turned to each other, murmurs of agreement rising again. Jake raised an eyebrow, clearly disliking the challenge thrown at him by such a young girl. He was used to adults backing down or submitting to business tactics, but Mia's courage cracked his composed front. Kids say the darndest things, right? He chuckled with a dismissive wave. But in the real world, Mia, it's about what people will actually spend their money on. Frustration bubbled within Sarah. How could one person be so disconnected? And what if we changed the story? She called out, her voice rising as the crowd collectively held its breath. What if we turned the aquarium into something alive, vibrant? One that draws in families like it used to, with events, educational programs, and community involvement? Jake hesitated, his confident facade flickering for just a moment. That's a nice thought, Sarah, but there's no budget for that. Where's your funding going to come from? A resolve settled in Sarah's heart, a mixture of fear and defiance as she faced his gaze. From our community. From everyone here. From the people who believe in the aquarium. And at that moment, Sarah knew it wasn't just about saving a building. It was about standing against a tide of indifference. She looked at each person in the crowd, their faces painted with a mixture of anxiety and hope. They were standing at a turning point. Just as a unified cheer began to build from the crowd, signaling a plan taking shape, Jake stepped closer, a smirk on his face. Let us see how long that enthusiasm lasts. When reality smacks you in the face, the stakes felt impossibly high now. The path ahead fraught with obstacles. But it only heightened the fire within Sarah. A wave of determination washed over her. Could they really take on someone like Jake? She clenched her fists, resolve solidifying. As the crowd began to chant unity, she quietly wondered, how would they balance their ambition against the looming threat of a more powerful opposition? The battle was just beginning and the outcome uncertain. But one thing was clear, this was a fight for their memories, for a chance to preserve joy. Could their collective memories redefine the future? And at what cost? The vibrant energy of hope was palpable as the crowd rallied behind Sarah. Their voices rose, blending into a powerful chorus that echoed across the park. Mia looked up at Sarah, her wide eyes sparkling with a mixture of admiration and determination. The tension between their little group and Jake intensified as his smirk vanished, replaced by a thin line of displeasure. Let us be clear, Jake said, his voice cutting through the excitement like a knife. You think this is some rallying cry for nostalgia? I don't want to crush your hopes, but I have clients waiting to invest in a new project. Real growth, real progress. The aquarium is simply no longer viable. But Sarah's heart pounded with a determination she had never known before. She stepped forward, feeling the weight of everyone's gaze on her. But we can show you that it's more than just an aquarium. It can be a community hub, a place of learning. If we work together, we can fund improvements through partnerships and grants. We can make it thrive. Jake raised an eyebrow, looking unconvinced. And when those partnerships fall through, when the money dries up, you're setting yourself up to fail. Sarah swallowed hard. Doubts flickered through the crowd, but she wouldn't back down. What if we organize community events? Bring in schools and families? Create programs that ignite interest? Another voice joined in, a familiar one. We could have monthly family nights, workshops, or even summer camps. Kids could learn about conservation. It was Mr. Thompson, the local teacher who had deep ties to the community. The crowd erupted in agreement. Jake crossed his arms, trying to maintain his composure. You all sound passionate, but passion doesn't pay for renovation plans. I'm not interested in wishful thinking. Sarah's heart sank briefly, but then she felt a glimmer of hope spark anew. What if we share those results with you? If we prove that the aquarium can be a success, will you reconsider your stance? Jake hesitated, eyes narrowing. The crowd was restless, murmurs of agreement building once more. They wanted to believe, to fight for their community. What if they could turn his doubt into opportunity? Fine, he relented, his tone dripping with condescension. I'll give you 3 months. Show me that you can build buzz and support for this place. But remember, I won't sit on the sidelines forever. If you fail, I'll make my move. The atmosphere shifted. An electric charge of exhilaration mixed with fear. Hope surged through Sarah like the tide crashing against the shore. We can do this, she shouted, raising her fist. Let us come together and show Jake what this place means to us. The crowd cheered, invigorated by the challenge. Sarah felt a weight lift off her shoulders, even as the gravity of their mission loomed above her. They had a real chance. But that only opened the door to new worries. How would they organize? Who would lead the different activities? And would they truly even have the time to make an impact before Jake acted on his threat? As the crowd's excitement swirled around her, Sarah didn't just feel the joy of potential. She faced the reality of the ticking clock. Agendas filled with meetings, planning sessions, and nurturing the bonds within their community lay ahead. And for every smile that emerged, the specter of Jake's reality check lingered. Their fight was only just beginning, and every person present needed to dig deep if they were going to transform this dream into something real. Mia didn't seem to notice the uncertainty. She was beaming, pulling at Sarah's sleeve, full of ideas and energy. Can we make fun flyers? Maybe a big event to kick things off? Oh, what if we had a sea-themed bake sale? Every little bit counts, Sarah smiled, an emboldened resolve forming in her chest. Every bit helps. Let us start right now. Who's with us? They formed small groups, erupting into discussions while an undercurrent of nervous excitement buzzed in the air. As Sarah jumped into planning, her heart raced with anticipation. Would their dreams echo through the community and galvanize enough support before the deadline hit? The clock was ticking, and they had to make every moment count. Their memories depended on it. Could this be the adventure that transformed their aquarium and their lives? Time was running out, but the strength of their unity might just make all the difference. The following days blurred together in a whirlwind of activity. Sarah found herself at the center of an explosion of ideas, each one more ambitious than the last. Mia barely left her side, suggesting new plans with relentless enthusiasm. The park rang with laughter and chatter as friends and families came together, buoyed by a shared vision. Let us paint banners. We could put them all over town, Mia exclaimed one afternoon, her small hand sketching out letters on a piece of paper. Yes, you could even organize a parade, Sarah replied, feeling the infectious energy around them. The growing momentum ignited a spark of determination within Sarah. Each day they gathered, brainstorming ways to breathe new life into the aquarium concept. They met at the coffee shop, in living rooms, and at the park, pooling all their creativity and resources. Mr. Thompson became a guiding voice among them, using his experience in education to help shape the community events. We should reach out to the local schools. A field trip to the aquarium could be a great way to get kids excited about marine life, he suggested, his eyes glinting with enthusiasm. And that was how the idea for the first big community event was born. Aquarium Day. They planned workshops, family activities, and presentations that would engage both children and adults. It felt like hope wrapped itself around them with every plan they laid. But amid the excitement, a quiet worry nestled deep in Sarah's heart. The countdown loomed. Day by day they were edging closer to that 3-month deadline. Could they really make Jake see the value in their dream? As the community rallied behind their efforts, Sarah realized they were getting traction. Local businesses began to donate supplies, and families signed up to help organize the event. Word spread like wildfire. But with every success, a shadow grew. Jake's skeptical words loomed over her thoughts. One evening, while they were finalizing their plans for Aquarium Day, Sarah noticed Mia sitting quietly, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face. "What's wrong?" Sarah asked softly. Mia looked down at her hands. "What if it doesn't work? What if Jake just laughs at us? Hey, that's why we're doing this, right? To show him it matters. We have something special here," Sarah reassured her, putting an arm around her shoulder. Seeing Mia's hesitant smile was all the reassurance Sarah needed. They were a team, and together they could face anything, even the doubts lingering like a quiet storm overhead. As more ideas flourished, their planning sessions shifted gears, now echoing with laughter and shouts of joy rather than the anxieties that had crept in before. It became infectious. A bond tightened among the community members gathering together for something larger than themselves. One afternoon Sarah stepped outside, inhaling the crisp air, allowing the brightness of the day to clear her head. As she gazed out at the park, a vision of what this could become filled her with gratitude. She'd never felt so alive, so driven by the force of their goal. Yet as the event day approached, the shadows returned. In the depths of her heart, she feared that even their best efforts might not be enough to sway Jake or prove the cynics wrong. "It's going to be fine, Sarah. Just wait and see," Mia chirped, her voice a bubbly burst of optimism, and Sarah couldn't help but grin. As they continued to hustle through preparations, visions of laughter and joy filled her mind. But deep down, she held her breath. Would Jake see the truth of their community's resilience? Or would doubt loom larger than ever? Game on. They planned to dazzle him. And in waiting for that moment, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Sarah stood with Mia one last time before Aquarium Day. "Are you ready?" Mia grinned. "More than ready." Just then a sudden thought struck Sarah. What if someone on the inside tipped Jake off? What if all their hard work meant nothing? With that fear dancing in her gut, she took a deep breath. They had come too far to turn back now. And so they plunged into the night, resolved to face whatever challenges awaited them together. Would their passion really ignite enough change before it was too late? The morning of Aquarium Day arrived, bright and full of promise. Sarah could hardly contain her excitement. The sun spilled golden light across the park, illuminating the colorful banners they had painted and hung, each one reflecting the community's spirit and hopes. Bright blue sky above matched the wide smile on her face as she and Mia set up their booth, filling it with seashells and posters about marine life. "Look at all these people," Mia exclaimed, bouncing on the balls of her feet as they welcomed families arriving. Children dashed around, pointing at the activities, eyes wide with wonder, their laughter echoing in the air. The sight filled Sarah with warmth. This was it. This was what they had worked for. "Remember what we talked about?" Sarah urged Mia, brushing a lock of hair behind her ear. "We are here to show everyone what these efforts really mean." As the event kicked off, workshops wound through the park, creating an engaging buzz. Sarah watched Mr. Thompson lead a group of enthusiastic kids in a discussion about dolphins, their faces painted with bright colors of excitement. The heart of the community was throbbing with life and energy, and Sarah couldn't help but feel uplifted. But then as she glanced around, the underlying worry crept back in. Where was Jake? A nagging part of her mind replayed his earlier words. He might not be convinced. What if he arrived and dismissed everything they had worked for as a mere charade? Would he ever be able to feel the beauty and passion behind their dream? As if reading her thoughts, Mia tugged at her sleeve. "Hey look! It's starting!" Following Mia's gaze, Sarah spotted a group of families gathering around the stage. They listened enthralled, as a local artist began to unveil a stunning mural dedicated to the ocean, showcasing its beauty and fragility. Each stroke of the paintbrush felt like a pulse, rendering life and color into the gathering. Sarah felt a flutter in her chest. They had turned their dream into reality, and it was beautiful. But with each joyful moment, she remained acutely aware of the ticking clock, and Jake's looming certainty weighed heavily on her thoughts. Suddenly a murmur rippled through the crowd, and Sarah turned, heart racing. There, walking towards them, was Jake. He looked down at the painted canvas, brows furrowed. She fought against the tide of panic rising within her. "What's wrong?" Mia whispered, reading Sarah's expression. "We can do this." Taking a deep breath, Sarah squared her shoulders, ready to embrace whatever would come. She watched as the crowd began to gather closer, mesmerized. Laughter echoed as children raced back and forth, high on the joy of discovery, and adults shared stories against the backdrop of the lovely mural. With the sound of waves in the background, the confidence in her heart began to outweigh the fear. Maybe it wasn't just about Jake, it was about them all. The community they had built, the resilience they had shown, was speaking for itself. Sarah felt a tug of hope blossoming. Would it touch Jake too? Or would he remain unreachable amidst their shared joy? As they prepared to begin the first presentation, when Sarah's voice would finally be heard, she caught a glimmer of something in Jake's eyes. Was it curiosity? Could he finally see that this mattered? With anticipation coursing through her veins, Sarah steadied herself to face him. Today was about transformation, about revealing the power of unity. No matter what, they were shining brightly together. But just then, a child burst through the crowd, shouting for everyone to turn and see. "Look," he called, pointing toward the water fountain where two dolphins, sculpted from recycled materials, glistened in the sunlight. Wow, Mia gasped, her eyes wide in disbelief. As heads turned, Sarah couldn't help but wonder what Jake would take from this event. Whatever truth awaited him, one thing was clear: their journey was far from over. The excitement crackled in the air. Would Jake embrace their dream, or would they have to fight even harder for it? The sun climbed higher, casting a warm glow over the park as Sarah felt a wave of energy sweep through the crowd. Eyes gleamed with shared wonder and anticipation. She shifted her focus back to the mural, its vibrant colors intertwining like threads of hope, and felt a strong pull to voice what they had strived for. "Okay, everyone," she called out, her voice rising above the cheerful chatter. "We're about to start our first activity." The crowd shifted, and she felt a spark ignite in her as curious faces turned to her. This was it, the moment she had dreamed of. Jittery with nerves, Sarah locked eyes with Mia, who grinned back reassuringly. But her gaze didn't linger long. It flickered to Jake, standing near the edge of the throng, his arms crossed. His expression was still uncertain, but a hint of curiosity danced there too. Made her heart flutter, but also filled her with dread. What if her words fell flat? Standing in front of the microphone, she caught her breath and took a moment to absorb the scene. Children with painted faces giggled as they splashed in the fountain. Parents shared laughs, echoing with reminders of their own childhoods. The atmosphere glistened with potential, and it filled Sarah with hope. "Today we celebrate not just the ocean but our connection to it," she started, her voice steadying. "It's about understanding how our choices impact this world. Together we can make a difference." Cheers erupted from the crowd. Mia bounced on her heels, grinning from ear to ear. The excitement was infectious. It swelled, wrapped Sarah in warmth, as if they were all cocooned together by the beauty of what they were creating. But as she continued her speech, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of Jake's gaze burning into her. Would he understand? Would he recognize the value of what they had done? Suddenly someone shouted out, "Are those the dolphins made from recycled stuff?" A little girl pointed at the fountain where shimmering sculptures caught the sunlight just right. Pride surged through Sarah. "Yes," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm bubbling up. "They remind us that even our waste can become something beautiful." A chorus of gasps spilled from the crowd, and they leaned in closer, their interest piqued. Sarah exchanged a hopeful glance with Mia, and she could feel their shared determination in the air. As she spoke about the importance of ocean conservation and how small actions could lead to big changes, she could see Jake's expression shift. Was he actually listening? Then, just as she was lost in her thoughts of what might unfold, clapping erupted behind her. Turning around, Sarah saw Mr. Thompson leading a group of kids seating themselves near the mural, now completely engaged with the artwork. Their laughter and questions about the painted dolphins filled the air. In that moment, Sarah realized this event was bigger than her worries. It was a beautiful tapestry of voices and hearts pulling together for a common cause. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her uncertainty lift slightly. But just as quickly, a loud commotion drew her attention again. A man, seemingly lost in the excitement, had tripped into the fountain, sending water cascading around him, eliciting gasps and then laughter from everyone. Even Jake cracked a smile, the hint of joy breaking through. Drawing a breath, Sarah felt her pulse steady. Maybe laughter could bridge the gap. She extended her hand to Jake, hoping he would walk towards her, towards them, and join in this wild celebration. But before she could take another step, the moment halted. An unexpected figure emerged from the crowd, an elderly woman with knowing eyes. A child perched on her hip. Sarah felt the air change. "Excuse me," the woman spoke softly but with authority. "I have something to share about these dolphins." A hush fell over the crowd, tension hanging thick in the air. What was she about to reveal? Would it be yet another layer of transformation? Or would it challenge everything Sarah hoped for? Heart-pounding, Sarah stepped forward, unsure of what was coming next. The woman's eyes sparkled with wisdom, contrasting her age. "These dolphins," she said, her voice rising and falling like the waves, "they're not just sculptures. Each piece here holds a story of change." Curiosity swept through the crowd, drawing them closer. The child on the woman's hip clutched a small stuffed dolphin, its bright colors matching those of the sculptures. Sarah wondered if the child understood the responsibility they all held, not just to enjoy the ocean's beauty, but to protect it. "My name is Ruth," the woman continued, And these dolphins represent something precious. They're made of the things we discarded without thinking. She paused, allowing her words to settle on the crowd. You see, several years ago I lost my husband to ocean pollution. He was a diver. He loved the underwater world dearly. Murmurs flitted through the audience like startled birds. Sarah felt a pang in her chest. Loss had often felt so personal, but now it was starkly public, an emotion shared. The importance of connection thickened the air. Ruth looked around, her expression softening. We can create beauty from the sadness. The dolphins stand as a reminder for us to act, to speak, and to create change. Her voice carried a weight that made Sarah consider how fragile their planet was, yet how resilient they could be together. Tears shimmered in Ruth's eyes. Every piece in this fountain once represented something that would have been lost forever. But, as I bring my grandchildren to this park, I see hope. I see you all here, celebrating and connecting with the ocean. That's what we need. As she spoke, Sarah felt her heart swell. It wasn't just about the sculptures anymore. It was about understanding the stories behind them. Ruth lifted her chin, that glint of authority returning. Together we must fill our ocean with love, not litter. Each of us has the power to make a difference. A wave of applause surged through the crowd, more vigorous this time. Sarah noticed Jake among them, his previous reluctance fading into the background. There was a flicker of respect in his gaze as he looked from Ruth to Sarah, and she felt a rush of warmth. Maybe this time he saw it too. Ruth addressed them again, her voice steady. If we love the ocean, it will love us back. Remember, what you throw away can become something wonderful. Just then, laughter erupted again as another kid flung water towards one of their parents. Joy bubbled through the attendees, uniting them. The laughter echoed, enveloping Sarah like a tight embrace. She couldn't help but smile. It really was an extraordinary day, one crafted by connection, hope and love. But then the little girl with the stuffed dolphin raised her voice. Can we make more dolphins? Can we make a really big one together? The question hung in the air, anticipation swirling, as the crowd voiced their agreement. Sarah's heart raced. What if they could create something monumental, something that would spread their message even further? Absolutely, she exclaimed, her enthusiasm spiking as ideas started blooming in her mind. Let us create a giant dolphin made of recycled materials. Jake caught her eye again, no longer closed off. There was a glimmer of excitement in his expression. For the first time she felt that he was truly on board with this idea. Let us gather more materials, make it happen. Mia chimed in, her eyes alight with dreams. But before anyone could get lost in plans or excitement, Ruth spoke again, her tone serious. Remember the stories behind creation. Every piece tells about loss, pain, but also about rebirth. As we move forward, let's do it mindfully. We can't create without understanding. An electric charge surged through the crowd at her words. They were ready to dive in, but the new responsibility loomed over them as well. What lay ahead was unclear, but the journey promised to be anything but ordinary. Just as Sarah felt a thrill of excitement building, she noticed something shifting in the crowd. A different kind of murmur. Heads turning towards the entrance of the park. What is happening? She wondered aloud, anxiety tugging at her heart. What awaited them on the other side of the possible excitement? The atmosphere was thick with anticipation as Sarah strained to see what was happening. A group of people had gathered at the park's entrance, and their animated gestures sent ripples of curiosity through the crowd. She felt a mixture of excitement and concern, her heartbeat quickening as she hoped nothing would overshadow the moment they were building together. Suddenly, a woman stepped forward, clutching a bundle of brightly colored papers, each fluttering like flags in the wind. Sarah recognized her. It was Emma, one of the local artists who often collaborated on community projects. The woman's face radiated joy, and it was contagious, lifting spirits all around. Everyone, you won't believe what we've got, Emma shouted, her voice ringing with vibrancy. We've been working on something special that ties right into our dolphin project. She unfurled the papers to reveal vivid drawings of dolphins, schools of fish and coral reefs, each designed by children from nearby schools. Gasps echoed through the crowd, and the little girl with the stuffed dolphin squealed with delight. Sarah felt another swell of hope, as she saw the children's innocent creativity blooming into community spirit. These weren't just drawings, they represented dreams and visions from the youth, their interpretations of the ocean and what it meant to them. Emma continued, "We want these to be part of the giant dolphin. We're going to laminate them and attach them to the sculpture. This way, everyone's voice will be heard, and the ocean will feel our love." Cheers erupted from the crowd. It was a beautiful idea, one that connected their individual stories into a collective narrative. Sarah glanced at Jake, who was now animatedly expressing his thoughts to Mia, imagining how these pieces could fit together. His enthusiasm lit a fire in her own heart. But then Ruth raised her voice again, a steady reminder amidst the excitement. "We need to ensure that these drawings are treated with care. They represent not just art, but our responsibility toward the ocean. Let this be a lesson that we need to protect what we create." The crowd quieted, absorbing her words. Each person was reminded of the weight of their mission, entwined in love and memories. Sarah glanced at the drawings, feeling the vibrant energy radiate from them. They were reminders of innocence, aspirations, a future worth fighting for. With renewed determination, Sarah stepped forward, proposing a plan for the community to come together. "Let us hold a workshop," she said, her voice steady. "A day where everyone can create their own art for the dolphin. We'll provide all the materials and space for everyone to express their hopes and dreams for the ocean." Jake's eyes lit up. "I could help organize. Maybe even get the local businesses involved to donate supplies," he suggested, his former shyness melting away. Their shared vision sparked a contagious excitement in the crowd. But before they could finalize the details, a sudden hush fell over the area. A figure appeared in the distance, silhouetted against the setting sun. The crowd fell silent, eyes wide. Something about the presence felt mysterious, an unexpected twist that left Sarah's heart racing with curiosity. Who could it be, wandering into their moment? And what would this new arrival bring to their journey of transformation and love for the ocean? As the figure approached, clarity emerged, revealing a familiar face. It was Emily, the marine biologist they had met during their early discussions at the aquarium. She looked radiant, her presence exuding confidence and warmth, and the crowd seemed to buzz in recognition. "Emily!" Sarah exclaimed, her heart lifting. "You're just in time." Emily smiled, her bright eyes reflecting the beauty of the day. "I couldn't miss this. I heard about Aquarium Day and wanted to see the incredible changes happening here." With her arrival, an electric current surged through the group. Emily had always been a beacon of knowledge and enthusiasm for marine life. "Your efforts are inspiring," she continued, gesturing at the mural and drawings. "Will you all join me for a quick lesson on our ocean's importance?" The crowd crowded closer, captivated. Sarah felt Mia squeeze her hand in excitement. This was the magic of connection coming to life. They were all here for one purpose: to advocate for their community and the ocean they cherished. "Let us explore our ocean," Emily began, and she began sharing fascinating facts about marine ecosystems that sparked intrigue and curiosity in every listener. She linked her expertise effortlessly to the collective effort surrounding them. "Did you know that every small action contributes to ocean health? Your enthusiasm right here today can protect marine life and inspire so many more." As she spoke, Sarah could see eyes lighting up and children leaning in closely, their imaginations awakened by Emily's words. Jake stood to the side, seemingly captivated. His demeanor shifted from skepticism to appreciation, reflecting his gradual change of heart. Sarah could see the way he nodded, absorbing every detail. "Together," Emily continued, "we can raise awareness, and we can advocate for preserving places like your aquarium, our community hub for learning and joy. You're doing things others only dream of." The excitement reached a crescendo as cheers erupted from the crowd. Emily's infectious spirit, combined with the joy of their collective effort, felt like a wave washing over them all. Sarah's heart swelled with pride. This was what they had hoped to create, a community united with a common purpose. As laughter and conversation buzzed around her, Sarah turned to Mia, who was wide-eyed and bouncing with anticipation. "Can we make those dolphins and paint them with Emily's ideas?" "Absolutely. Let us do it," Sarah agreed, feeling buoyed by Mia's enthusiasm. "We'll coordinate workshops, encourage contributions, and keep that spirit alive." And just like that, they ignited a renewed sense of community. Plans formed quickly, with volunteers signing up left and right, ready to contribute materials, art supplies, even expertise. This was the moment, the turning point they had fervently yearned for. As excitement filled the air, Sarah felt her worries ebb away, replaced with an undeniable momentum. Jake stepped forward, his face radiating sincerity. "I truly admire what you all have accomplished here," he said, eyes shining as he addressed the crowd. "I want in. I believe in our aquarium, our community." Gasps of joy rippled through the crowd. The tide had indeed turned. Love and support surged around them. Just then, Ruth stepped forward and echoed the feelings stirring in the air. "As we keep building this momentum, let us use our stories, the losses, the joys, to inspire others. Together, we can show the importance of preserving our ocean. But it starts here with us." Cheers erupted once more as the crowd embraced her wisdom. Echoes of "together" rang out, harmonizing in a chorus of promise and hope. As plans solidified and excitement bubbled over, Sarah stood back, taking it all in. They were a blend of hearts and hope, individuals transformed into a united force. In that moment, she knew they were shifting toward something grand, paving a new path forward. Days turned into weeks, and each community workshop blossomed with creativity. The giant dolphin sculpture crafted from their collective voices began to take shape as children scribbled colors and stories onto its surface. The warmth of shared purpose united their efforts, and every brush stroke infused life into the project. The day finally came for the grand unveiling, and Sarah felt a rush of anticipation blanket her nervousness. The sun beamed bright, glistening off the colorful sculpture that now stood proudly in the heart of the park. It towered over the gathered community, a stunning testament to their journey and unity. Families gathered, eyes wide, as Mia took her place at the front. Standing beside Emily and Ruth, she beamed with pride. "This is our dolphin," she announced, her voice ringing clear with conviction. "Together we did this. Together." The crowd shouted back, a tide of joy washing over them. Laughter erupted and smiles stretched wide. As Jake stepped to the podium, Sarah held her breath, her heart racing. "Today we're not just unveiling this sculpture, but a new chapter for our aquarium," he declared, his tone earnest. "This space will be dedicated to marine education, to exploration, to connection. Together we will keep it alive." Cheers erupted once again, and Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. Families gathered close, surrounded by hope and light. They did it. They really did it. The weight of their worries fell away, replaced with the beauty of triumph and transformation. With the sun shining down, they knew this was just the beginning of a lifelong commitment to preserving the ocean's beauty, nurtured by community and compassion. As the celebrations unfolded, one simple truth shone brighter than the sun. Their story, their journey was alive, and it wouldn't stop here. And for those who witnessed it all, they could feel it too, the magic of connection making waves, rippling outward into the world. This was their moment, and it was just the beginning. Now it's your turn. If you want to ride this wave of inspiration along with us, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support and be part of these incredible journeys. Leave a like now to help us reach more hearts and amplify these transformations. Comment your reactions, feelings, and stories because we love reading them. And for the love of community, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand how cherished each action is. Make your voice heard.